computer. Hey, Alexa, play The Boys Are Back in Town.
The
Ep-
boys are back in town.
the episode 5 is live. Let's get it, baby. Cam, what's up, my friend?
All right, Bulls, we are back, man. Today is May the 8th, 2023. Check out the logo, big
Check it
wave.
out.
Yes, sir. Ward actually has an update, a t-shirt update coming at you guys talking about that logo.
So we've been I wanted to make sure I was recording, my bad. So we've been talking about it. And me and Cam have been talking about getting these t-shirts out there, and we are one step closer. Actually, a coworker of mine knows a guy that owns a printer press. So because of that, all I got to do is bring you some t-shirts, bring in some t-shirts, and bring him. I'll tip him a little bit, man. Tip the honest guy. He's gonna make us a few t-shirts. So whatever size you need, we're aiming for the comfort colors t-shirts. Hanes are too cheap, and yeah, Comfort Colors is a nice brand, a little bit more expensive, but we're excited, man. We're gonna be our brand's gonna be everywhere. The Fat Katz podcast is gonna be everywhere here soon.
Yeah, Ward, we had to take a few days off. We had some unfortunate events going on, but I'm excited to get back with episode 5. I know we're not going to do a full draft recap because it's just so far out, but we
Yeah,
are going
it's so far out.
to touch on the draft. But before we get into it, I just want to remind everybody, find us on Spotify and YouTube, the Fat Katz Podcast,
Check the boys out.
and Instagram and TikTok at the Fat Katz Pod. Um, Ward, let's talk about your weekend, man. Take me through your weekend. How's everything
Dude,
going?
hell of a weekend. Went to Topsail Beach in North Carolina, which for everybody that listens probably lives in North Carolina. It's about an hour south of Wilmington. So, or actually, it's north of Wilmington. But anyway, went to Topsail, got on some fish, caught some flounder, caught some sheep's head, caught a bunch of what else did we get? We caught some sea bass actually, which is pretty cool. But hell of a weekend. Ate some great food, cooked a lot of food. Can't ask for any more, man. Fishing and eating don't get much better than that. Cam, what about you? Tell me about Mr. John Daly over here.
Well, first of all, I don't know much about fishing, but your boy did a lot of eating this weekend, believe it or not. I had a good weekend, man. I chilled at the house, watched a lot of basketball, and yesterday we had the first golf round for Big Cam Taylor of the year with some of our honorary Highlands Hooligans members from college. It was a rough showing, very rough, and that's putting it lightly. I probably shot about a 130, and that's
who
being
who won?
oh, John won. No, John's sister's boyfriend is like
Is he good?
legit. Yeah, it's like I was out there. I was like, we shouldn't even be playing on the same course right now. This is not.
Who was Bryce out there with y'all too?
Yeah, it was me, Bryce, John Castle, and John's sister's boyfriend. So
That's awesome.
it was fun. It was a nice little foursome. It was nice just to get out there and see everybody. But man, the golf game needs a lot of work.
So the inner John Daly didn't come out yesterday.
Well, the beers and the cigars were flowing. That was the only John Daly that was out there.
That's hilarious, man. That's hilarious. No, it was a good weekend for sure. Yeah, I wanted to go over golf. I didn't unfortunately get to play golf this weekend, but I saw you were up there and wanted to ask you about that. So but yeah, I wanted to give, I do want to give Cam his recognition. Cam's doing for everybody, please. I know Cam mentioned us on all of our YouTube or not YouTube links, all of our social media links. Check out Cam. He's doing a hell of a job. He puts all our edits together. He's the one that runs our social media content. So give us a follow, shoot us a message. We're fully open for updates too, or not updates, for opinions too. So if we're doing something bad, tell us, please. But yeah. And then something we're gonna go over today, Cam touched on it pretty briefly, but we're gonna be going over some NFL and college football news. Also as always, we're in the midst of the NBA playoffs. So obviously we're going to hop into that. We're also going to hop into some college basketball news, some crazy stuff, and something different we're going to be doing today. And I'm going to let Cam kick it off. We're actually going to be doing a season preview for college football today. I'm going to be doing my North Carolina State Wolfpack, and Cam's going to be doing his Kentucky Wildcats. So, Cam, I tell you what, this is how we'll do it. I'll pull up the schedule. I'm going to name you the team in home or away, and I want you to tell me win or loss, and I want you to take a pen and do check marks or something like that.
I love it. We're gonna fly through these pretty quick, just
Yeah,
in
this
case.
won't be too long.
We know that between our 4 listeners, there's probably 2 NC State fans, a Duke fan, and a Kentucky fan. So, um, I've got the schedule pulled up for Kentucky right here. If you want me to read it, if you've
All
got
right,
it.
read through it, man. Tell me what you think.
All right, we got Ball State in Lexington. That's a win. Eastern Kentucky in Lexington. That's a win. Akron in Lexington. That's a win. At Vandy, we lost to Vandy last year. Don't care. Win at Vandy. Florida in Lexington. Florida can't buy a win in Lexington the past 5 years. Give me a win. That's 5-0.
5-0. Ooh, okay.
This is where things get a little bit tricky. At Georgia in Athens, loss. Don't even have to think twice about that one. Missouri in Lexington, we're going to go win. We got a bye week. Tennessee in Lexington, loss.
Okay.
As much as I hate to say it, man, I mean, we can't beat Tennessee for some reason. At Mississippi State, that's a loss.
You think y'all get beat by Mississippi State?
So that series is hilarious because the series is 50-50. Every time the home team plays, they win. The home team wins.
That's how Wake Forest is or that's how NC State and Wake Forest are.
We've got Alabama in Lexington. That's another loss. I think keep my tally. We're up to 4 losses right now, correct?
Yeah, y'all are at 4 losses.
Okay, and then we're going to Williams-Brice in South Carolina. As much as I hate to say it, man, that's going to be a loss.
Dude, South Carolina's supposed to be really good this year, so that's not a bad bargain at all.
Yeah, the Beamer crew is making it work down there. Great recruiting classes. Yeah. And then to wrap up the schedule, man, at Louisville, won 70-0. Kentucky Wildcats.
Bet the over on Kentucky.
Oh my goodness! Bet the over. Bet the spread. Get an alternate spread if you can. And those cats cannot play with the Kentucky Wildcats.
You know, Cam, this is the first time I ever tell you this, but I actually agree with you. I was writing down the schedule and the wins and losses. The only one that can be a toss-up is Florida, and I think that can go either way. You know, you both just lost your quarterbacks. So one went just a little bit higher over the other, but yeah, I pretty much agree 100% with you there. And then pull up state schedule for me.
Okay.
And I just want you to read them to me, and I'll tell you, I know it for the most part because I haven't bought season tickets yet, but I've been talking with the season ticket reps every day.
Can't wait to see this gauntlet of an ACC football schedule.
Yeah, right.
All right, so we're starting out September 2nd. NC State hosting Connecticut.
Okay, we'll beat UConn.
Okay. Now September 9th, next week.
Notre Dame.
South NC State, Notre Dame. What are we thinking here?
This is a huge game. We are opening up in Carter Finley this year against Notre Dame, the wannabe ACC school, and I'm giving us a loss. Don't see us beating Notre Dame. Just lost our quarterback and half our offense. So, yeah, taking the L against Notre Dame. I'm going to be honest.
I spoke incorrectly on week 1. You guys are traveling to Connecticut.
Yeah, we play at UConn. We played UConn in Raleigh this year.
Wow, I can't believe that actually. Week 3, we're going VMI at State.
Okay, I would hope we beat VMI.
So we're moving on. State at Virginia. Just took their quarterback, by the way.
Just took Virginia's quarterback. You know what? We're steamrolling. We're going to be coming off a win against VMI, a big win, by the way. Bet the over. I got us beating Virginia.
I like it. So that's 4-0. Am I correct?
No, 3-1. We're getting dogged by Notre Dame. Sorry, State fans and players.
They just lost their quarterback too. They lost their quarterback and their OC to Alabama.
That's true. They did just lose their quarterback. That we need to touch on that too, by the way.
We will talk about that. So moving on, we've got Louisville at NC State.
We'll beat Louisville. In Raleigh, we beat Louisville.
I hope y'all beat them by 1 million.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but
let's go Marshall at State.
Marshall beat Notre Dame last year. Playing them in Raleigh, I think we're going to beat Marshall.
We are Marshall.
We are Marshall.
Let's go State at Duke.
Dude, it really scares me right now having us at 5-1 going to Duke. Obviously, we should beat Duke, so 6-1, baby. 6-1.
And that brings us to the matchup of the year, it looks like. Clemson at State.
In Raleigh. But guess what happened last time Clemson came to Raleigh? Yep. We beat them. Shocked the nation. We did whoop Clemson's ass, but that's not going to happen two times in a row. So I'm having us taking the L to Clemson. I think Will Shipley, white running back from Weddington, North Carolina, is going to run for about 300 yards on us.
Okay, let's go. NILU Miami versus NC State at State.
And Raleigh, man, we're going to be coming off a big game with Clemson, and I hate to say it, but I have Miami coming down and beating us. They got Tyler Van Dyke back. They're paying him millions in NIL, so yeah, we're a little too inexperienced for Miami.
So after that game, you'll be playing a university who has about the same size fan base as this podcast does. They are a little bit louder, though. We're going to NC State at Wake Forest.
Just like I just said, we never win in Winston-Salem. They don't beat us in Raleigh, and we do not beat them in Winston-Salem. And actually, Wake Forest is surprisingly going to be really good this year. They got their quarterback back, so yeah, I'm going Wake Forest beating us. Hate to say it, but
you know the Marines slogan is "the few, the proud." That's also
the proud, the Demon Deacons fans. There's not many of them. You live in Charlotte. I live in Raleigh. Everything around here is NC State, Carolina, Duke. I'm sure it's the same for Charlotte. There's no Demon Deacons fans around here. You see more Wake Forest high school stickers on cars than Wake Forest college or university stickers on cars around here.
I've lived in North Carolina for 6 years. I know 2 Wake Forest fans.
And they either went there or their parents went there, right?
Exactly. Yeah, their dad went there. They're brothers too, so it's really only one. NC State in Blacksburg, Virginia Tech.
We're not going to VT and beating them.
And to cap off the season, the big rivalry, North Carolina versus NC State at State.
I have us right now losing 4 in a row, and there's no shot we lose to Chapel Hill. We're going to whoop their asses just like we do every other year. So there's a W for the Wolfpack. So right there, I have us losing 5 games.
Hey, 2 7-5 seasons. If we keep that going, we might be meeting up in the.
And we might be, and again, going to the bowl game against each other.
I'll see you in Nashville for the Music City Bowl, man.
Hey, see you for the Duke's Mayonnaise / Belk Bowl in Charlotte.
Hey, speaking of that, Dukes, we got a problem, man. Make it the Belk Bowl again. Let's go. Come on, bring the Belk Bowl.
I'm all for it, man. Make it the Belk Bowl. We'll start a campaign.
Let's talk about your boy, man. I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about him. Big Dexter Lawrence gets paid.
He got paid, man. He
becomes the highest paid DT in the NFL, 4-year, $90 million deal. Ward, talk to me.
He deserves. I've known Dexter. I went to middle school with Dexter. I've known Dexter since I was about 11 years old. Me and his brother are really good friends. That man deserves it. When I say a lot of people deserve it, he actually deserves it. His family wasn't one that grew up with money. You know, they never struggled, but they didn't grow up with money. And he, he's worked his ass off to get where he is now. He was a 5-star recruit in high school, went to Clemson, balled out at Clemson. Obviously, now he's in the league now, had to work it. And he's not a flashy player either. Dex isn't one to go out and get a bunch of sacks. He clogs stuff up and he makes plays. And he's always been super unrecognized. But good for him, man. He got paid. He deserves it. And I couldn't be more happy for him and his family.
Yep. Career high in sacks last year was 7.5. 68 total tackles.
And 3 of those sacks were against Washington, too, by the way. Taylor Heineke does not like Big Dexter Lawrence, I can tell you that.
7 tackles for a loss, and last year he got selected to the Pro Bowl and was second-team All-Pro. Congrats to our guy Dex, man.
Big Dex, awesome. You deserve it, brother. Congratulations.
Last thing on the NFL that we're going to touch on, like we said, didn't get to do the draft recap, but we are going to give you our biggest winners and losers of the draft. Ward, I want to hear your biggest winner of the draft, team-wise.
Congratulations to Steelers. The Steelers had a hell of a draft. Y'all got my favorite. I was so pissed off when y'all got him. Y'all got my favorite player out of the draft, that tackle out of Georgia, dog. And then what was the tight end out of Georgia too? Y'all got him. He went to Georgia. He's a dog too. And so the Steelers are my first winner and my second winner. I think everybody's going to have the Eagles on their list. I do not know how that dude from Georgia falls. Jalen Carter falls all the way to number 10. Please explain to me. The Eagles get him. Yeah, they win my draft. Them and the Steelers.
We almost had I don't know if you've watched the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner when they trade up.
I swear, man.
I cannot believe the Bears traded back and didn't take Jalen Carter there. That would have been the heist of a century. but we get Jalen Carter, and like I said, my number one is Philly, UGA Northeast as I call them. They've got every dude from that defense. I swear.
UGA Northeast. That's freaking hilarious.
They get the edge, Nolan Smith, and they get Ringo, the cornerback, in the later rounds.
Yeah.
They're putting it together, man. That's a team. That's why you draft, man. You build through the draft, you become a good football team. You don't build through free agency. This is when you win games 2 years from now. Is the draft.
Hey, Washington, take notes.
My second as well as the Steelers. I put them too, just so I didn't look like a homer. My favorite he was my second favorite tackle behind Darnell Wright, Broderick Jones. We drafted. My tight end 3. He fell all the way. I think he was tight end 8 by the end of the draft. With some knee issues. And then the legacy, PZ Jr. coming back to the Berg. Joey Porter Jr., I love it. Nick Herbig was a guy I talked about kind of extensively on our last podcast. His brother plays for the Steelers, so I couldn't be happier with that draft. And Ward, who's your loser of the draft?
Yep, this is going to hit really home, but my loser of the draft is the Washington Commanders. We have pick number 16. Very excited about this pick. We have a lot of issues we have to address. The number 2 through 5, or number 2 cornerback is still on the board, and we go out of the way to take the number 5 cornerback on the board. So I don't know, Christian Gonzalez, or not Gonzalez, guy from Oregon, Christian Gonzalez, right? Or Rodriguez. Christian Gonzalez was still on the board. We passed up on him. Also, Joey Porter Jr. was still on the board. Also, the dude from Maryland was still on the board. I can't remember his name, but he was actually ranked on Pro Football Focus. All 3 of them were ranked above Emmanuel Forbes, the guy the Redskins or the Commanders drafted. But I'm happy with it. Emmanuel Forbes, he forces turnovers. Other than that, we had a pretty good draft class. We addressed some needs. We got a ton of offensive linemen. But that's my first loser of the draft. My second loser of the draft is the Lions. I think the Lions has so many different skill sets they need to address, and then they go at their pick while they still have DeAndre Swift and take a running back. Which, don't get me wrong, Jahmyr Gibbs was my boom of this draft, but I didn't think he would go till day 2. I did not think he'd be a first round pick. So and then one more, Cam. I don't want to ramble too much, but I think the Green Bay Packers were a bust. I think they did not have a good draft. They did not do one thing to help their young quarterback. They're not their rookie quarterback. They're pretty much their rookie quarterback coming in. Did nothing to help him, and they took that bum out of Iowa that you don't like.
Yeah, that's pretty on par with the way the Packers draft, man. They don't really get weapons. They did draft 2 tight ends, a blocking tight end and a receiving tight end. But again, Lucas Van Ness, not my favorite guy. I agree with you on that one. To talk about the Commanders, they took Forbes, a guy that I loved coming out. I did think they reached a little bit to get, they could have traded back. And one thing I don't understand that the Commanders did is they double dipped a lot this draft. They go 2 defensive backs, 2 offensive linemen, and 2 edges. I don't know. This is a deep draft. I like KJ Henry. I like a lot. Obviously, Chris Rodriguez is my guy. I like Stromberg, but I don't know the as many needs as you guys had. I don't know if that really addressed as many as.
I couldn't agree more, my friend. Trust me.
My biggest loser of this draft, though, is the Los Angeles Chargers. They had all the receivers on the board besides JSN, and they go and get Quentin Johnston, which, if you've heard me talk, I think he's Kevin White 2.0. I don't really like him, and they don't really address many needs. I mean, there's not a guy on this draft board that I'm looking at right now that I look at and say, man, that guy's going to be really good in the NFL. And there's a lot of teams. This was one of the few drafts where I think there's a lot of teams that walked away from draft day that were excited about their draft. And I'm a Chargers fan, which talk about the few, the proud.
Yeah, the few, the proud.
That I would not be very happy with this draft. And you touched on the Lions. I think the Lions reached on a lot of guys, but I think they got a lot of guys that were culture fits and a lot of guys that are just playing out good football players. And I can't say the same thing about the Chargers draft. That's all on the NFL I have. There's one more college football point we need to talk about, and we didn't have this wrote down, but it just came into my mind. All of college athletics, really. What is going on in Alabama?
They obviously don't have a quarterback. Obviously, after the spring game, they realize how bad their two quarterbacks are they have. So they're reaching out to everybody. Tyler Van Dyke, Drake May. So that was their 1 and 2. Obviously, those two didn't fall through. So they get old boy from they get old transfer from Notre Dame. But hey, good for him, man. That boy's gonna go get paid.
I was talking to one of my buddies, and we were talking about the Brandon Miller situation, his teammate who allegedly murdered somebody. We talk about the baseball coach. I don't know if you saw this. Baseball
I
coach
saw that today. Yeah.
a betting scandal. That's, I mean, just a disgrace to the game. And we were talking about all this terrible stuff, how we'd hate to be the AD, and then we looked at each other, but we said, but the worst thing going on in Tuscaloosa right now is they don't have a quarterback.
All right. What about the baseball coach, man? He puts in somebody that hasn't a sophomore that's pitched in one game this year, hasn't pitched in a month.
Well, he got caught. He got caught having the guy who placed the bet in his phone. Just a terrible situation all
That's
around.
bad, man. That's awful. At a power, I mean, the SEC is the dominant baseball conference. That's awful, dude.
Well, no, something just popped up right before we got on here about Iowa's baseball. Doing the same thing, same kind of, and it makes me upset because they're ruining sports betting for everybody.
For everybody, exactly. I suck at it. I don't need to be sports betting, but
I've been fighting to have North Carolina have sports betting since I moved here, basically, since I was legally allowed to place a bet. And we're finally getting to where states like North Carolina, Kentucky, Ohio, like all these states that haven't had it are finally starting to push it. And then we have this stuff going on. It's
sad.
making me
Sad, brother.
let's move on to the NBA and some college basketball news. Let's start in the playoffs. Suns Nuggets. Let's go through that roller coaster of a game last night. Suns win, masterclass by Booker and Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
The thing everybody is talking about is Nikola Jokic and the Suns owner. Let's see, what's his name? It is, oh goodness, Matt Ishbia, I believe.
Ishbia, yeah.
Get into a little scuffle with we had a great soccer flop on the sideline, but man, what a turn of events there we had.
My honest opinion on that, and Cam, I want to go over this with you too. As two former athletes, I think it's honestly sad the way fans and society treats athletes. They treat these athletes like they're animals. Like you got to remember, at the end of the day, dude, these guys are humans just like us, and they're out there playing the game they love. This dude, the fans are out there pushing him, man. They're out there pushing him. They take the ball from him and won't give it back, and they think it's a joke. Jokic is a big dude. I would not want to see that dude get pissed off. And I promise you, there's not one fan in that arena, unless John Jones is hanging out in there, there's not one fan in that arena that's going to take him out. So I think it's kind of sad. I want to hear your opinion on this too. I think it's kind of sad how the fans can get, or the stuff they can get away with. And then at the end of the day, Jokic, since he responded and he pushed that owner, he's going to get, I don't even know if he's going to play in game 5.
I agree with you. I think people think that when they buy a ticket, they can do whatever they want, and that's just not the case.
No.
I mean, even like when coming out right out of COVID, I mean, that guy in Madison Square Garden spits on Trae Young. Like,
yeah, man. Like these dudes put their shoes and socks on every day, just like we do. You know.
I think it's a disgrace. The Suns owner should be absolutely ashamed of himself.
And absolutely.
Like you said, man, Jokic, and I don't know if you've seen his two brothers, man, but if they come running up on you, man, you got a rough day ahead of you.
They about fought the whole Miami Heat. You remember that?
I do. And I love Jimmy. I love Bam. They don't want it. They don't want that smoke, bro.
Hey man, USA.
But like we said, the Suns tied up at 2-2. No road wins in this series so far.
Hell of a series. Like you, Cam, you literally said this. You couldn't say it any better. The series doesn't start till a team wins on the road.
Yep. So we're going back to Denver. We'll see what happens. We're 1-1-1 from here on out. We're going Denver, Phoenix, Denver, and the West is so fun to me because either one of these teams win, I'm happy. Either one of the teams in the next series we're about to talk about, Lakers, Warriors win. There's no Western Conference Finals that's not going to be.
Oh, I know.
The Lakers go up 2-1.
Good for the Lakers, man. AD is playing lights out, bro. AD is playing. Well, he played lights out in Game 3, not Game 2, but Game 3. he played great. So I don't know if you watched it, man. I pulled up some of his stats just on the defensive perspective. He was a menace, man. He had 4 blocks, he had 3 steals, and he had 13 defensive rebounds. And I mean, I don't know. Good for the. I'm on the Lakers. I'm on the Lakers bandwagon right now. I will say I want the Lakers to win just because all the crap they heard all year. But good for them, dude. I love to see it. This right here, like you said, you can't go wrong in the West with the Eastern or with the Western Conference Finals. But hell of a job by the Lakers. This series is nowhere near over, my friend.
No, you can never count the Warriors out. I remember looking at my friend when we were watching the game. Warriors are down 20. I didn't turn the game off.
Hell no.
You never know until they pull the starters out. You never know what that
Dude,
team.
they started out on a 13-2 run.
Yep. And D'Lo, I mean, give D'Lo his props, man. He
he's
came
playing good, man.
You were talking about Anthony Davis, though. His new nickname in the NBA world is Every Other Davis. It's hilarious. It's every other game this man has a masterclass, and then you watch the next game, which is tonight. He's due for a stinker tonight.
Either a stinker or he's somehow going to get hurt. I hope he doesn't, but
incoming 9.6 rebound game from Anthony Davis. But if you look, his plus minus is like plus 123 over the 3 games of the series. If you watch the Lakers, they stink when he's not on the floor. They stink sometimes when he is on the floor, but when he's not on the floor, they are a bad basketball team.
You never know what you're going to get with the Lakers, man. You never know. I don't understand how you can come out in 2 days, you come out, blow a team. There's been a close game in the series yet. You come out, you blow a team out. Or actually, I think game 1 was close. But game 2, the Lakers lost by, 25? And then game 3, they win by 30. I don't get it, man. The games are separated in between 2 days. I guess home court advantage has that much of a difference.
It's the National Blowout Association, man. NBA.
I like it.
I have seen over the past few years where we've seen the 3 ball become such a big deal. I think that's one of the reasons we see so many blowouts now is because if a team goes 15 for 40 from 3 and the other team goes 28 for 56, I mean, the team that shoots the 3 ball best is going to win.
Oh, absolutely. In today's game, hell yeah.
And that's why the Lakers, their style of play is it's like the old LeBron teams. They get to the line, they attack, but they did a great job surrounding him with shooters. I'm so excited to watch this series, man. This feels like the last LeBron versus Warriors series we're going to get. And when we were younger, I know I was like, man, I wish we could just watch a different finals. And now I'm sitting here a few years older, and I'm kind of just taking it because it's awesome to see. And LeBron goes the whole first quarter, doesn't take a shot, and then, I mean, makes some really timely shots down the stretch.
You think this is the first time in LeBron's career where he doesn't have to sit back and be the main scorer for the team to win?
I think on a game-to-game basis, yeah. I think there was times in Miami where he could look at D Wade for a quarter and say, go score. I think when they won in 2020 in the bubble, I think Anthony Davis was the best player on that team. And people tell me I'm crazy. Go watch it. That dude was the best player on that team. And I think he's getting to that point again to where, AD is healthy enough that he can trust him to take the scoring load. And if AD is not hitting, you've got D'Lo, you've got Austin Reeves, you've got a lot of guys. You've got Schroeder. All these guys can score the basketball. Mm-hmm. So I think the Lakers are in a good spot. They're in as good of a spot as they have been since they won the finals in 2020. And talking about one big market team going to another, Knicks, Heat, game 4 coming up. What are your thoughts on that game?
Well, the way the Heat are playing, I don't think there's any excuse why the Heat shouldn't take it in 5. I mean, obviously New York hasn't been here. The Heat have. The Heat were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. But I don't know, man. It just blows my mind that if you told me at the beginning of the playoffs that the Heat and either the Heat or the Knicks are going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, I'd tell you you're dumb. But I don't know, man. I like to see, something different, but I think the Heat should. Jimmy Butler's playing the way Bam Adebayo's playing. I think they should take it in 5.
The Knicks are extremely frustrating for me, and one of my best friends is a Knicks fan, so I watch him a lot. Julius Randle, as much as I love him, former Kentucky Wildcat, he is so frustrating to watch play basketball. Mm-hmm. He takes so many bad shots. He doesn't really hustle on defense, and when he's great, he's awesome. Mm-hmm. He's great. He's one of the best players in the league, but they're so few and far between. We got a few games of RJ playing out of his mind in the Cleveland series in the beginning of this series, and he's cooled off a lot.
He has.
I mean, Jalen Brunson is as steady as they come, but I'm not putting Jalen Brunson against Jimmy Butler and saying that guy's going to win a playoff game for me.
Hell no.
Unless there's some major adjustments on the Knicks end, unless Julius Randle comes to play basketball, I'm with you. I'm saying Heat and 6. And how funny would
Yeah.
that be to have a 7 seed in the Lakers out west and an 8 seed in the Heat out east?
Oh, I know.
Let's talk about the 76ers Celtics series, man. I mean, what a great series we've had so far.
Hell of a series.
James Harden hits a buzzer, or not a buzzer beater, a go-ahead 3.
Pretty much a buzzer beater. I mean, I think he hit it with
overtime.
6 seconds left.
In overtime. Sixers tie the series 2-2. Talk about a star-studded series, man. Just the names in this series, but
Oh, I know.
we've had some fun games going back and forth. You can tell there's a first-year head coach on the Celtics sidelines
Yep.
taking a few timeouts to go with them. But talk to me about this series a little bit. What do you like? What do you dislike?
Well, this is my Eastern Conference Finals right here, because I think the winner of this, no disrespect to the Heat or the New York Knicks, but I think the winner of this is gonna not have a cakewalk. But I think the winner of this is going to the NBA championship. But no, man, James Harden is playing. Game four he played great. James Harden come out. He has 45 points. You know, he hits that clutch 3 at the end to win the game. He's playing like he wants to get paid, man. You know, he's kind of been coasting and being Joel Embiid's guy all year, his second-hand man. And now, you know, James Harden's contract is coming to a close at the end of the year. They can extend it, but it's going to be $38.5 million. That's not included the signing bonus. That man, James Harden, he wants to get paid. But no, dude, I really don't know who's going to win this, to be honest with you. I think this is Doc Rivers' last chance, too. Like, I know we mentioned that a couple pods ago, but my brother's a huge Celtics fan. Had a long argument with him the other night about the Celtics. But yeah, man, I honestly couldn't tell you who I think's going to win. I have no idea.
Touching on James Harden, I've got to take my foot out of my mouth. I think our first episode, I said James Harden isn't a guy that can get you 50 anymore. I think my exact quote was, "He's only good for 25 and 12." He's made me look like an idiot this series, which I am. I'm not an expert in any means. He's turning back the clock though, and I love it. I love watching James Harden when he's interested in playing basketball.
Yeah.
One thing that does frustrate me about the 76ers is watching Joel Embiid. He's become extremely passive in this
He
series.
has, man. He has.
I saw a stat yesterday. I think in the past 30 years, I think you can fact check me on this. In the past 30 years, the scoring champ has not been in the top 25 of playoff scorers only twice.
Wow. I did not know that.
This year, Joel Embiid. Guess who the other one is?
Who?
Last year, Joel Embiid.
You have got to be kidding me, really? So he must. Wow, I didn't know that.
He's the scoring champ. He in the past 2 postseasons, he hasn't been in the top 25 of playoff scoring. And to me, if you watch his game, he's not getting the calls he gets in the regular season.
Yeah, that's true.
His game thrives on as much as I hate to say it, foul fishing.
Yep. Free throws.
He's just not getting
free throw shooter. I'll give him that.
And when you play like that and you don't get the calls, it gives you reason to be passive, because if you don't feel comfortable taking that contested layup and not getting a foul call, you're obviously not going to take it. But that's one thing, man. For the 76ers to really be a title contender, you can't rely on James Harden to score 45 every night. I don't think.
Yeah, no.
Maybe 10 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, yeah, but I don't think right now. So, do you have anything more on that series that you'd like to?
No, I think that about. What did you think about the Bucks firing their head coach? I didn't ask you about that.
I like Budenholzer, Coach Bud. I mean, he's a good coach, but there's been too many blunders outside.
He won him a ring, man.
Yeah, but if you take and I know you don't just take the ring out, but
yeah,
if you do, they've been really disappointing in the playoffs besides that championship run.
They have.
And he does. The thing about Coach Bud is he does not make adjustments at a high level.
Who are they
We're
going to replace him with, though? That's my question. Like there's one thing like, oh, I'm going to get rid of my coach. I'm going to fire my coach. But see, people don't think about who better than this coach I already have now am I going to replace him with? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, of course. And as a Kentucky fan,
Oh, I
that's
know you know about this all the time, man. Every big loss y'all have, y'all got beat this year in the NCAA tournament. I call you and say, all right, when are they firing Cal? And you're like, who are we going to replace him with? And it's true.
yeah, I mean, I that's something I always think of, and even like every fan base that has a good coach goes through this. Like I know I talk to Penn State fans about James Franklin all the
Oh
time.
yeah,
Like you have to think who am I going to get that's better than this guy? Now the NBA is loaded with coaching talent and guys that they'll probably hire a guy we've never heard of and he'll probably be good.
oh I know he'll be good. He'll be great.
Think of Joe Mazzulla for the Celtics. Like he's been great as a first season
Yeah.
coach. I mean, there's guys in the NBA that can get it done, but
Yep.
that would be something. As a Bucks fan, I would be kind of what, but like I said, you've seen the same story so many years, and Giannis had to have one of the most legendary playoff runs of all time to even get you that championship.
Yep.
As he's getting older, you're not. He's still dominant. He's still Giannis, but he can't do it at the capacity that he did it. And I mean, sometimes there's just time for a change, and
Yep.
that's the crossroads the Buckets come to. Um, what about Bronny, man? Staying
Good
in
for him,
Southern
dude.
Cal?
Good for him. That man's about to make so much. He's going to make more money. I guarantee you, Bronny will make more money in his freshman year at USC than he will make in his rookie year in the NBA. Fact check me when I say that. You got to think about Los Angeles, dude. I mean, a gallon of milk in Los Angeles is $6. A gallon of gas in Los Angeles is $7. You know how much money he's going to be making in NIL? Everything out there costs more expensive. So to the naked eye, like me and you that live in North Carolina, which don't get me wrong, shit here is very expensive, but not like California. And good for him though, dude. He's about to bring in an array of other recruits with him. He's about to completely turn around USC's basketball team.
Yep. Screw the NIL checks, man. Just imagine that kid's allowance. For those of you who don't know, LeBron James Jr., aka Bronny, committed to Southern Cal a few days ago, and he's in the On3 rankings. He's now the 11th player in the nation, 5-star. I huge get for USC,
Good for
and
USC, dude.
people have known this for probably the past month. I've known it for the past month, and he's actively trying to recruit guys. I would say look out for Mackenzie Mbaku who just decommitted from Duke to be looking at USC. Look out for Ron Holland to take a visit to USC, who just decommitted from Texas. And there is a Kentucky Wildcat that is currently committed that I'll be on the lookout for. Number 4 player in the nation, Aaron Bradshaw, has had some rumors to be going to USC. He's represented by Clutch, which is Rich Paul and LeBron James' best friend. Bronny is a Clutch. They're based out of Southern Cal, and I mean, I would look out for that. There's been some rumblings over the past few weeks that Aaron Bradshaw might be on the move out of Lexington. That would be a big strikeout for John Calipari in terms of big men.
Yeah.
Talking about another strikeout for John Calipari in terms of big men, number 1 transfer portal player Hunter Dickinson commits to Kansas. Ward, what do you think that kind of has on the impact of college basketball?
Well, Hunter Dickinson's good, man. Don't get me wrong, but them Wolfpack just got MJ Rice from Kansas. So what do you do with a star? You replace him with another star. But no, I'm just kidding. All seriousness, there's not really can't compare. But yeah, I don't know, man. Kansas is good as they always are. I mean, Hunter Dickinson, he went to Michigan. Michigan wasn't very good last year. Obviously Kansas, he's going to be in a better chance to be a higher draft pick. He's going to play with some better talent and have a lot better chance to win a national championship. So you're a lot bigger in the basketball than me, and you're a Kentucky fan. So let's hear your take on this one.
I like Dickinson a lot. As a Kentucky fan, he wouldn't have moved the needle for me just because we have Aaron Bradshaw on board at the moment.
Yeah,
he's a
that's
good
probably
player.
why y'all didn't get him.
He's probably going to be the betting odds favorite to win Player of the Year this year. He was in the top 3 discussions last year. I mean, it's going to be the same 3 guys. If they all come back, it's going to be Dickinson, it's going to be Baycott, and it's going to be Sheboy. Kansas gets a star-studded center. a guy who can step out and shoot the three ball, a walking 10 and 10 double guy.
And he's white. Hey man, there's not many left of our. Hey, you look at basketball as a whole, man. There ain't many white people that are so American white people that are very good. So hey,
Producer, edit that out. Edit that out. Just leave the awkward pause. Um, yeah, he is Caucasian. He's a very good basketball player. You saw him, you think he's about a 35-year-old guy who like sells car insurance. He doesn't look like a basketball player, but the kid's a good ball player. Kansas
beard like
got
you.
him. Here's the funny thing: as a Kentucky fan, you get the kind of the back roots of recruitment. Um, so Kansas told everybody on the recruiting trail, anybody who would listen, whatever NIL offer he gets, we're adding 200K to it.
Oh, I didn't
So,
know that.
so word on the street is Dickinson confirmed $1.5 million to attend Kansas, and to top off his recruitment, man, he went to a little place in Kansas called the Boom Boom Room. Apparently that sold him on his recruitment. That's
Oh,
a
the boom boom room, huh?
For those of you that don't know, that's a sports bar slash entertainment center for adults. Um, Hunter Dickinson apparently spent a long portion of his visit in the Boom Boom Room, and you can't blame him, man. I
That
mean,
is hilarious. I didn't
you
know
know what they
that.
say about those Kansas women, man. You can't find much better than that. So, congrats to Hunter Dickinson, man. Tell him to give you a blank check, man, and because he's not playing in the NBA, so he better get his money now while he can.
Hunter,
But
good luck, man.
moving on, let's talk about UFC, man. We had UFC 288 in the main event. Aljamain Sterling beats Triple C in his long-awaited return by split decision. Ward, I know you have some kind of strong feelings about this fight. Tell me about it.
Yeah, well, I think Triple C, I know it's kind of sad, but I think he actually had to come out. I think he had some financial burden. I'm starting to hear he came out. He was hurting for some money. He was in some debt, so he had to come out and fight to obviously make his money. But hey, he's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, he really pissed me off. I will say to our audience, I don't sports bet much at all because I always lose. But I was feeling strong about this one today or Saturday. I put together a 3-leg parlay. So I'm like, you know what? I'm a hit. My first fight was the third fight on the card. It was it was the only girl fight on the card. The really short haired, bald Brazilian girl screwed me, by the way. By the way, she got knocked out in 2 minutes. So I lost my first parlay because of her. Then my second parlay, we'll hop into this one next. But Gilbert Burns versus Belil Muhammad. And yeah, Gilbert Burns only had one arm. He lost, obviously. And then the third one, I had Henry Cejudo and Aljamain Sterling. And yeah, I said, you know what? Henry Cejudo is a former double champ. He's a wrestler. I mean, he's a former gold medal wrestler or whatever. And he comes out and, you know, I know it was a split decision. I don't think it was a split decision at all. I think Henry Cejudo lost. He had just him or Aljamain Sterling had just as many takedowns as Cejudo did. Maybe Cejudo had one or two more, but he didn't do anything with them. And he also, you know, Aljamain Sterling outstruck him on the feet 2-1. So yeah, good fight, very boring card. I fell asleep one time during the card, not gonna lie to you, but yeah, that's my rant for that one.
Yeah, I didn't really feel any type of way on that fight. You know, those kind of fights are so hard to judge, in my opinion, just because there wasn't that much action. Um, Shout out to Aljo. To me, I mean, you know this, Ward, one of the most fraud
That's your boy.
champions. I like him, but he had one of the most fraudulent championship runs of all time.
And dude,
But
I don't know if you went back and watched the fight. He shows it off. He baits it, man. He's sitting there on his hands and knees, like sticking his head out, waiting to get kneed.
yeah,
Good God, he better not do that shit in a street fight, man. Somebody's gonna soccer kick his ass.
yeah, Peter Yan, man, he wouldn't hold anything back on him either. Let's talk about Gilbert Burns real quick, and we'll touch on Bilal Muhammad, and then we'll get into Aljo and Suga. But I mean, Gilbert Burns is a warrior, man. I love Gilbert Burns. It's his third fight in 3 months. I mean, he's on his Kevin Holland 2020 tour, just
He
getting
is,
as many
man.
fights as he can. Uh, I love Gilbert Burns. I love Dorino, but it was tough watching him thug it out with just one arm.
It
What
was, man. It was. I think there's a time where, you need to kind of put your pride aside and take a break. It's hard to go through 2 fight camps within the last month and a half. He just came out of a 5-round, I wouldn't call it a war. He beat the hell out of Jorge Masvidal, but he's had a 5-round fight with Jorge Masvidal a month ago. And then here he is again. I don't know, man. I don't know.
What are your thoughts on this Belil Muhammad cat, man? I know we've watched him a few times. I want to hear what you have to say about him.
He gained my respect. I will say I don't think he's the elite of the elite. I don't think he can go in and beat Colby Covington or beat Kamaru Usman, beat a Leon Edwards of that division. But he did. He's better than I thought he was. I thought Gilbert Burns was going to cakewalk him. Belil Muhammad's fought nobody. Like you look at his past fight, yeah, he's won 8 fights in a row, but they're against no names. They have a record of they have a total of a 500 record. But yeah, I can't stand him. By the way, Boom, I hate in his post fight interview. He's so cocky. He goes, "Give me 3 weeks. I can beat any welterweight, or I can beat anybody in my division. Give me 8 weeks. I can beat John Jones. I will bet my house, my truck. I will cut off my left nut if you beat John Jones. There's absolutely no chance." But yeah, good fight. He gained my respect, but screw that guy.
Is he next in line for a title fight, do you think?
Dana came out and said he gets the winner of Colby and Leon.
Okay. We'll see, man.
Yeah, I know if they came out and said, Colby, there's a number 1 contender fight between you and Belil Muhammad, he won't take it because it's a win-win for him. He's already first in line to get the belt shot. They've already setting it up. So, but I don't know. I think Colby would cakewalk him personally. But
what's your thoughts on Colby Leon? What do you think happens in that fight?
I don't know, man. I'd have to think a lot about that one. I don't know. I'm a Colby fan, but it scares me. It's hard to take a 2-year break and then come back and beat Leon Edwards, who just beat Kamaru Usman twice, who beat Colby twice, arguably beat him twice. The first time he beat him, second time, depends what judge you ask. But I don't know, man. Honestly, I have no idea.
I'm excited about that fight. I think
I'm very excited for it. I'm gonna buy it. Trust me.
Just rounding out 288 here. Sugar Sean gets in the ring or in the octagon and sizes up Aljo, man. How do you think that fight goes?
You ready for my prediction on this one?
Let's hear it.
Aljo's going to lay on him for 24 and a half minutes. Sean O'Malley, I like the dude a lot, man. I really do. He's sold himself. He's a great fighter. He has no wrestling, man. He has no wrestling at all. Aljamain Sterling is a wrestler. That's what he's known for. And Aljamain Sterling's big too. If you look at him and Sugar Sean O'Malley right beside each other, they're nose to nose, man. They're just as tall as each other. And Sean O'Malley's never fought somebody his actual size. He's fought because he's so tall. He's fought guys so much smaller than him. And you look at them side by side. Aljamain Sterling's big, man. So I don't know. I think Sterling takes that personally. We'll dive into that before September when the actual card happens. But
all right, Ward. Let's get into what people have been waiting for since they turned this podcast on. Let's go full plate, empty stomach, man.
Let's do it, brother.
Give me yours.
My full plate for this week. This is the second time me and Cam are doing this. Extremely excited about it, but not sure if any of our listeners watch NASCAR or not, but if you tune into the wreck at the end, my boy Ross Chanston, however you say his last name, hits a mean right hook on that other crappy guy. What's his name? I don't even have it written down. Anyway, this dude comes up and grabs him by his chest like this, and Ross just boom throws a right hook and nails his ass right in the temple. And then obviously both pit crews start fighting. And one funny thing about NASCAR, every NASCAR driver is about 5'8", 5'7", really short guys. So it looks like Henry Cejudo fighting other people out there. But it was funny, man. That's my full plate. My empty stomach is actually going to be Antonio Brown. Not sure if you saw the breaking news about Antonio Brown, but he went out and started his own arena football league, or started his own arena football team, which is very cool, man. You're giving kids opportunity, not kids, you're giving dudes opportunities to play football, make a name for themselves, and possibly live their dream out of getting into the NFL. These guys got to make money to live, though, man. Anyway, long story short, he didn't pay his players. And if you're not going to pay your players, man, that's sad, bro. Come on. It's just the thing about Antonio Brown. I don't want to go on a ramble here, but it seems like there's some new about him coming out every month. Something new bad comes out about him. He's in the news again. And I give Mike Tomlinson, I give the Steelers head coach and Ben Roethlisberger credit, man. I mean, how do you deal with that dude for as long as you did and not let anything get out about him? All credit to him, my friend.
Yeah, Mister Big Chest pulling a Don King, not paying his guys. I you know what I think about AB. I love him.
Yeah,
He's one of my favorite Steelers of all time. I hope he figures it out, man. But
I hope so, man.
it's hard to see him the way he is, man. So I hope he gets better. Um, my full plate is actually the Suns owner, Matt Ishbia. I mean,
You got some balls of
not
steel, don't
this. This is not a good full plate this week. This is the full plate because that's a lot of man to be messing with, man. I do not want to mess with the Jokic. I definitely don't want to mess with his two brothers. I think Big Matt maybe bit off a little bit more than he can chew. And then I've got two empty stomachs. My first empty stomach is John Calipari, barring he loses Aaron Bradshaw, because that would mean he would lose out on Hunter Dickinson, Aaron Bradshaw, and Oscar Tshiebwe coming back. If you go into the season without any of those three guys on your roster, man, you're going to be hurting. But I've got faith in Big John. I think he's going to figure it out. And my last empty stomach is my boy, your boy, Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks, future Charlotte Hornet, baby.
I cannot wait to watch him on the Shanghai Sharks, man. I mean, gosh, kick rocks, good riddance, bro.
I
Have you
wonder
ever
where do you think he's going to end up?
Shanghai, bro? There's no way an NBA team
Shanghai
signed
gets
him.
him.
He have you ever seen a team say under no circumstances will we bring? He could have played for a $0. They wouldn't have brought him back. How nuts is that?
He pissed somebody off in the front office. He must have damn been hanging out with Coach's wife. But
He don't poke bears, man. He don't poke bears. But
hey, he don't respect anybody until they drop 40 on him or he gets dropped.
Dylan Brooks, man, I don't care if I never hear that cat again. I think he stinks. I don't know how he had a job in the first place, but
yeah,
anyway.
the Hornets going to pay him $20 million. Watch.
Yeah, they will. He's gonna get the Nick Batum contract in
Nice
Charlotte.
job, Michael Jordan.
But that's all I have for the day.
Yeah,
do you
man.
have anything else you want to touch on before we kind of get out of here?
So the NFL schedule releases on Thursday. So Cam and I, Big Steelers fan, I'm a big Washington fan. We'll definitely hop on here. By the end of the week, we'll come on and do our schedule release and our previews for that. But also, too, we have a couple more interviews on the pipeline. We have them scheduled. We're actually doing a former – I don't want to get too much into it. We're doing a former college basketball player, and kind of the same thing as Seth in our previous interview. He has that walk-on mentality. Then we're also going to be later on in the pipeline. This is towards the end of the month, but we're also going to be interviewing a former college football player at UNC. And he also played during COVID. But no, Cam, has been a hell of a podcast. Episode 5 in the books for all of our listeners. Check the boys out on Spotify, on YouTube at Fat Katz Pod. Check us out on social media. Cam dropped all the links at the beginning at Fat Katz Pod. But yeah, we're extremely excited. If you ain't made it this far, I owe you a beer. Continue to support the boys.
Peace.